Welcome to DarrenChin.com. Today we're going to take a look at a new 2-in-1 tablet from Lenovo. This is the Lenovo Yoga Book. And it comes in two flavors. It comes in a Windows and Android version, and I opted for the Windows version. And so what this really is, it's sort of a derivative of their yoga line, sort of like the 910 for example. It's a smaller tablet on the size of a 10-inch tablet. And it sort of combines Wacom's bamboo spark technologies to be able to draw on one side and be able to have notes taken on the other. Okay, we just see the device right here, just like that. It's really, really small, very, very small indeed. And so you get that. What else you get inside it? Let's see. Right from here. Looks like the power supply. So we can pull this out and we see it uses micro USB to charge. It says you have a micro USB cable here. And if I pull that out, get that to come out there. Or okay, from this side then. Oh, there we go. So there's a little channel blocking that. So a little power brick for the micro USB cable for charging. Let's take a look what else we get in here. So put little compartments over here. So this is a pad of paper. So it goes on the one end for you to use. So we'll explain that a little bit later once we get in the compartments here. There's more compartments. This looks like a, let's see here. So it's a SIM puller. So, or at least the thing to pop out the panel on this side here. Supposedly this is a micro SD card slot on that side. So, and then we have the pen. So this is the interesting device here to be able to draw on it. So it's actually a good sized pen, and you have some tips. So these are actual pen tips. So what's interesting about this device is that it has the ability to draw on paper and translate it to the screen. And if I can figure out how to open this guy up. There we go. So this is the default tip for drawing on the keyboard side. And it's actually a good sized pen. So let's take a look at the device itself real quick. Pry it open and see what we get in here. Oh, I get this to come out. Here we go. Okay. So unfortunately the Windows version is only black. The other nicer colors are only in the Android flavor. So it has the kind of the watch band inspired pivot point hinge here, which is really nice. And we basically open it up, and just like a book, see it maintains a very thin profile. Now this is where the magic happens on the device. This right here is their Halo keyboard, and you can sort of vaguely make out the keys on here, and there's a button that turns on the ability to use the pen on this side here. So unlike other traditional 2-in-1s with an actual physical keyboard here, there is no physical keyboard. This is sort of like a Wacom tablet with a keyboard on top of it that can illuminate through. And so let's take a look at the device, look around it real quick, see what we got. So it looks like we have a micro USB port here, probably for charging. The slot here, it's for the micro SD card. And looks like we have a micro HDMI port on the bottom on this side over here. On this end, we have the power button, it looks like a volume rocker, and headphone jacks. So there's not a whole lot of connectivity on this guy. So I really wish this thing would have had USB-C. Well, we have openings over here for the speakers, by the way, too. You got speakers on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to power this guy on, configure it up, and load some software on here. And let's take a look at what this thing can do. Okay, so before we go into a detailed look at the Yoga Book, I want to do a physical comparison to, well, the iPad Pro. This is not the iPad Pro 9.7 inch. Alright, so it is a smaller iPad Pro. It's vanilla. I don't have any case on it right at this moment, so I wanted to see what it kind of looked like on top of, well, in comparison to the size of the Yoga Book. Obviously the Yoga Book is a little bit bigger, and if you kind of hold it up from a top-down view here, you can see the size difference there. Alright, maybe side by side like this. Let's see what that's like. So the Yoga Book itself is a little bit taller than the iPad Pro without a case. Now the interesting thing to remember is that this is an incredibly thin device, because once you open it up, I mean, obviously each section is very, very thin. Alright, so now, you know, it has the keyboard and everything. Now this doesn't have anything. Now as soon as you put a case on, let's say, like, you know, I have my favorite QO keyboard case here from Belkin, and you know, it works with the iPad Pro with some caveats, but it works. So as soon as I put the case on, in order to get this thing to kind of attach all together, just the case alone makes the device actually about as equally thick, if not a little bit thicker, than the Yoga Book. So, and then if I put the keyboard on itself, like so, now we're at a much thicker thickness, and heft-wise is a lot heavier, because obviously you're carrying along an extra battery for the keyboard along with the iPad's internal keyboard. So, you know, that's something to consider. And I want to take a look at, and see, comparing it to something like the Surface Pro 3 I have around here. So you can see that, you know, obviously the Surface Pro 3 is a 12-inch tablet, so it's obviously a lot bigger than the Yoga Book. So you can see from physical size-wise here, you know what we're looking at. Okay. Thickness-wise, I can line this up properly. Kind of see that, you know, it's not that much thinner though. See, so it's not too bad. Now, obviously, this is about the keyboard. So if I slap the keyboard back on this guy, then it gets bigger. You know, so you can see from here, you know, it's gotten a lot thicker now with the keyboard attached. So the merits of the Yoga Book, obviously, are the fact that it's exceptionally thin. All right, exceptionally thin. The fact, you know, you open it up, and you know, I have it opened up in the book, you know, each side is exceptionally thin. That's just an amazing accomplishment on Lenovo's part. Alright, let's take a look at the device now. Now, this is the Windows version. Alright, if I haven't mentioned that already, it is the Windows version. The one thing I'll say right now is Windows has a heck of a time starting up sometimes. And this makes is a similar problem I've seen on many different laptops. Hold the power button down for about a second or so, and eventually the pen light over here illuminates, and the thing starts up. I'm going to work in this top-down view just because I think it's a good way to get everything viewed, and I'm not going to get any distortion from an angle. I'm going to turn down some of the lights though, because I think, you know, it'll be easier to see the Halo keyboard. See, as it kind of illuminates up, so you see the Halo keyboard there. I can basically, oops, so I can log in here. And so you see the Halo keyboard is lit up, and so it's in keyboard mode. And Windows will start up either, how you ever set it up, either in tablet mode or regular Windows mode. You can simply just go into tablet mode by swiping the side and tapping the tablet mode, and now you're in tablet mode. So let's take a look at the keyboard real quick. So here's the Halo keyboard. You get a closer look at that. You know, it's a full QWERTY keyboard. You have the inverted T cursor keys with the page up and page down next to each other here. You have a very large backspace button, and it's actually very useful because, you know, it's kind of, if it wasn't this way, it's a little harder to get to the keys. And then you have a top row of function keys. They're the FN 1 through 12 over here, along with the function keys for volume control, brightness for the screen, the search, settings, and media buttons for play, reverse, and forward. And you have the touchpad down here, so it's a little trackpad down here with the buttons, left and right mouse buttons along the side of it. So, you know, it's a nice little compact keyboard. The keys, I'll have to say, like some of the folks have indicated in other reviews, that it does take a bit of getting used to, and that is a correct assessment. It does take a bit of getting used to, because you have to basically get used to the positioning, and it's really easy to mess up because obviously there's no spacing. They kind of feel around for the keys. You have to basically hit them in the right way. So the one thing interesting about the keys of keyboards is that I'm not sure you hear it, but when I start typing, it buzzes. Alright, so if you're in a program like, let me lock the rotation so it doesn't flip around on me. Let's see, rotation, turn that off. Okay, so location, I want rotation. Yeah, rotation lock. Alright, so now it's locked rotation. So I'm going to launch something like good old Notepad here. Or actually, you know what, I'll run Word. Alright. Good old Word 2016. So I'll run that. I'll do a new document. Alright, so we'll start typing. I'll let you hear what happens when you start typing on this thing. I'll raise the volume as well. I'll maximize the volume. So every time I hit the space bar to end a word, it makes this click. And there's the buzzing for the keys when you hit the keys. So that's something that you cannot turn off. You lower the volume on the device to make the clicks less noticeable, but the buzzing is always going to be there. There's no way to alter the buzz settings. So it could become a bit annoying depending on how you feel about that. I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit closer here. Okay. So as far as typing goes, it takes a bit getting used to. Oops. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad though. So it is something you have to adjust to. The tactile buzzing of the device, it does help to know that you're hitting keys. It's hit or miss with me sometimes. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like it. The clicking can be kind of annoying, and I wish there was a way to turn that off or at least make it a little less noticeable, but you can't do that right now. Trackpad itself is actually pretty decent. It's not too bad. You can tap to select things, or tap to click. You can do doesn't do 2-button tap, but you can get the the right click on the side over here. You can also left click over here as well on the side. The mouse, the trackpad does not buzz. So if you're tapping on it, you won't know it's doing anything. So it doesn't buzz. So buzzing is strictly for just the typing portion of it. So, but it's nice to have that. It's really great to have a keyboard that when you need it, it's there. If you don't need it, you don't have to worry about it. All right. So because Windows, and this thing comes with 4 gig of memory and a 64 gigabyte SSD built into it. So for storage, and it's not a lot, but it's a decent size. Compared to older netbooks, it is a vast improvement. Now, of course, there is expandability though. So let's talk about expandability. So I have an SD card built in already. I put in here already. So I'm going to eject it real quick. So I'm going to get out of tablet mode real quick and just go to just eject it so that I can show you what it's like to how to use it. And it'll eject on me. Come on. Oh, there it is. There, so I ejected it. Okay, so where that's hidden at is there's a little slot here, similar to like a phone SIM card slot. So again, you take this little knick-knack here. They actually give you one of these. It's not the one that comes with it. It's similar though, but it's basically a SIM popper. You can basically click on that, a hole in there, and you pull it out, and so you have a 120 gigabyte micro SD card in here. Now there is supposedly a version coming out, I think, that has the SIM card, so you can actually have a cell phone capability or wireless data capability too, but this one doesn't. So this is a cutout here for the micro SD card. So you basically take it in, slip it over here. I can do it one-handed here, and pop it in, and once it's in there, it mounts in Windows, and there's a little beep for it, and it gives me a little ring that is available, and I can basically open it up and store files on here, and movies and videos, comics, whatever. I can put all that stuff on here, and so it expanded my storage by 120 gigabytes, which is really handy. So that's something very nice that you can do with it. And of course, it's Windows, so there's really no limitations of what you can do. All right, so we can take a look at the volume. Now we can pull up some apps like Netflix here. And now I'm using the web version of Netflix. I'm not using there's no app, I don't think, for Windows Store for whatever reason. So I'm here, log as myself, let's see. Let's play. Let's see. Got any trailers running over here? No, nothing. Let's just go and I'll play this Jungle Book over here. If I can somehow get into full screen, there's a way to get into full screen mode here. All right, maybe not. I just want to test the sound anyway. So the sound's not bad. You know, it's got two speakers on the side, so the sound is pretty ample for the most part. At least I found it that way anyway. Alright, so that's enough of that. So we'll talk about the sound real quick here. So with the volume and the power button. The other things you can do, which I'm not going to show right now, is you have the micro HDMI. So if you want to hook it up to a monitor, you can do that if you have a micro HDMI adapter. And then there's the lone micro USB port here for charging. And you can use, if you have an OTG cable, you can use it with other devices like memory cards to be able to move things around as well. So it kind of gives you the option to do that, but there's only one of them. Alright, so let's talk about the pen now. This is the whole thing about it is the pen. Okay, this is part of the big experience of having this, is that you can actually type on this thing, but at a click of a button, you're now looking at a Wacom tablet. So in some ways, what Lenovo has done is they combined this all-in-one, two-in-one device with their bamboo pad. And so the bamboo pad is, if you've seen it, is a Wacom tablet that actually uses a notepad. So we'll talk about the notepad in a little bit, but right now I'm going to use here's my notebook. There it is. So there's the other part that comes with it. This was the notebook, and you can kind of doodle on this thing. You put it on here, and actually it will transcribe to the screen. But we'll talk about that in a moment. So we're just talking about the Wacom tablet part of it. So what's kind of neat is, you know, the pen itself. Pop it open, and you have your Wacom pen tip. So if you to run programs like, say, good old Sketchbook Pro here, for example, with it enabled, I can just simply go ahead and start sketching. So I can basically sketch like I would if it was if you've ever used a Wacom tablet on the side of a PC or a Mac. It's the same type of thing. You know, it has various degrees of pressure, so I can do harder. I can do soft and vary the lines. Now it doesn't have the nuance that a full-on Wacom Intuos Pro has, for example, but it's not bad. It's supposedly, I believe, 1024 levels of pressure. It is far more sensitive than a N-Trig or even some of the older tablet PC kinds. So I can do some nice detailed hatching. I can go here and zoom in. Use some standard gestures here to do the work. I can choose colors. Oops, I choose a color. Oh, it's dark. There we go. So using all that kind of capability to draw. It's really kind of nice. And then of course, this is a sketchbook. It's an extra program to buy. OneNote comes with it. So actually, when you turn it on and off here, OneNote actually pops up in the corner. You can run that and get right into OneNote, and you're ready to start taking notes and stuff. So from here, for example, I can go to the draw mode here, pick a pencil or a pen, and I can basically start going to town over here. I can take notes. Now I'll start diagramming things. Ooh, look at this. Plot the curve of this thing. Now, this one thing about doing it this way, if you've never used a Wacom tablet in this sense, it's going to take a bit of getting used to, because obviously you're drawing on here while watching it over there. But once you get used to it, it's a pretty good experience. Now, you kind of have to watch the cursor for where it goes, and be able to kind of use it. And, oops, can I do that? All right, I guess OneNote didn't have that option. That's weird. Well, let's see. The one detriment I'll say about about using the pen here is that the pen has no buttons. Alright, so there's no buttons on this pen. You pretty much got the tip, and that's it. There's no eraser, there's no button on the side. So if you're used to using a typical Wacom stylus, they typically would have a button, one or two buttons over here, as well as an eraser, and you don't have that. You're strictly just this. Alright, so let's let's create a new page over here, and I'm going to basically take this out now. So, all right. So this little knickknack, you need to be able to use a real pen to draw on, and so they give you a pack of 3 of these inserts. And so what you do is the back of the cap has this hole, and you kind of push it into the tip, and you kind of yank it out like that. Just don't drop it like I did. And you then replace it with one of these guys here. Slip it in, push that in, and you have a regular pen now. Put this back over and pop it in, and we'll put the pad down. So the pad actually magnetically sticks to the base, see, so it doesn't fall out. So that's kind of nice. So basically, if you're moving around, this isn't going to fall out on you. All right, it actually stays put, which is really kind of nice. If you're left-handed or right-handed, you can flip the tablet around like this way. Now line that up, you're good to go. The pad looks like it's replaceable. If you open this tab up here, there's 2 like hole punch areas for it. So I believe you can buy additional pads. I think they're the standard bamboo pads for their bamboo pad. So you should be able to do that. Then you flip it open like this. And if I go to, like, say, why is this version of Note? Okay, this is here. I've got a full screen drawing mode, for example. Here we go. And so I'll take the pen and I'll start taking notes, for example. So if I'm going to start drawing over here, or just take notes, like, I have atrocious handwriting, but you can see how it's working here. So see that I translated this up there, and so if you're if you're used to using paper and want to have to transcribe things, this is kind of a nice way to do it. And of course it'll work the other way around as well. I just have it this way so just for ease of you watching it happen. So this is kind of a neat feature. I didn't really buy it for this particular option, but this is kind of nice if you actually wanted to do that. And then once again, even with that pen tip in, it closes just fine, not a problem. So it is a really cool tablet. It is a very neat device. It performs, because it runs Windows, it performs a vast variety of different things. You can basically read books on it. You can read comic books on it. Like, for example, I can go here. I can pull up, I bought this cover application from the Windows Store. And it's a nice little comic book reader. And what I can do then is, once it loads my comic, I can take this, flip it over, and of course I have rotation turned off, but I turn it back on. I can flip it over this way, and there we have it. So there's my comic. I can read my comics this way. Zoom in, really nice and smooth. Oops, it stopped moving. There we go. So flip to the next page, next page, next page. So it works quite nicely, and just for reading comics, or reading books, and it's very, like I said, very, very thin, and it's very light. I mean, it's just amazing. The watch band inspired hinge is just a great added value to this device. It makes it look great. As you can see, then you can tent it in either way. So flip it this way for tenting it. If you want it on the table this way, or you can simply tent it if you want to actually stand it up this way. That works as well. And see, it all auto rotates because I don't have rotation lock turned on. Now the thing is that it's not floppy at all. So I can kind of wiggle it this way. It doesn't drop over. So it's actually really kind of nice. So it feels quite good to hold. Even if you're on your lap, you can hold it like this and watch something, read something. And it kind of elevates it even further than actually having it in just a standard panel. So it's really kind of neat. So there you have it. A look at Lenovo's Yoga Book. It is a really neat Windows 2-in-1 tablet. Very, very lightweight, very small. It runs Windows, and that's a plus and also it's a minus, because Windows actually does have a little bit of caveats. You have to deal with all the Windows things, like all the constant updates. Sometimes Windows actually definitely has sleep issues, so sometimes sleeping for long periods of time goes into hibernation. It gets kind of weird. It's something you have to deal with. So in some ways it's not the most perfect experience that way, but once again, you're not limited to The sky's the limit. So I'm going to do another video later on talking about drawing on this thing and improving the drawing experience and how this thing works with, say, Photoshop or other drawing applications. I showed Sketchbook Pro real quick. So stay tuned. I'll have more to talk about this device. If you have any questions or things you want to see that I haven't shown, feel free to leave some feedback. And like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.